major religions that you looked at, are there any stories or writings alluding to the fact that the founder would be reincarnated or would come back again as something else? If there are, isn't that a form of resurrection in and of itself?
Let's do one by one. What is the first question? Are there what? I will not be able to answer 3 questions at the same time, so I break them up usually, so it's easier for me. Sorry.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
So
are there what? Other?
Are there writings
Yes.
about the founders
Yes.
that they will be reincarnated or they will come back again from the other religions apart from Christianity?
Good question. I think there are. There are reports, there are claims that they would come reincarnate. But remember, the word reincarnation is different from resurrection. In reincarnation, you get up with some other form, not with the one you died. So that's called reincarnation. For example, in Hinduism, we do have reincarnation. So you can die as a human, and if your deeds have been really good, then karma will make you go up to the next level of human, higher level. But if your karma has been bad, really bad, then you go down. In other words, you can go down to be created as an animal. So can you see, you're not resurrected. You are reincarnated. This story is you went down there and you died and then you started a new life, but you started a new life, not something else. You came up physically, bodily in the resurrection. So that there is a big difference by saying incarnation and resurrection. The person who went down came up. Reincarnation, you can go down, but an insect would come up. Or a tree. Very different. Can you see that? So this is not, and that is why, how do you know that, let's say it was, what shall we say, an animal. How do you know that animal was you? How do you know the animal was you? Whereas a resurrected person, they know that this is the one we put down inside there. They recognized him. Can you see the difference now? Yeah, so there's a big difference in any stories. And remember, all those stories you can put to the test. And when you ask, do we know how it happened? The theory breaks down. Here, do we know how it happened? Yes, sir, because of 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes good sense. It stands to reason. So good question. Have I responded? Was there any other question attached with that? That's okay.
I'm not sure. I think you've answered.
Oh, answered. Thank you.
Yes, but so
yes.
Then it would be a futile exercise for me to continue to argue with another inquirer who says, I'm bringing my own form of resurrection, which is reincarnation. So it's pointless.
Slowly. I didn't get it. I am bringing my own what?
So the shot that hit the ball out of the park for Christianity is the resurrection, right?
Okay.
All right. So if the other inquirer with
yes.
whom I'm searching with
yes.
says, but with the other religions as well, there is the golden whatever shot. It might not necessarily be resurrection, but it is reincarnation. So what I'm trying to get at is that it is pointless to then continue pursuing that argument with that inquirer.
So now we have to look for a founder who does that, right? So who is the founder who did that, what you just described?
Well, you said a few days ago that Krishna reincarnated as something else.
Let's say it again.
Oh, sorry. I think a few days ago you mentioned that Krishna is the 8th incarnate of...
Incarnate of the god Vishnu?
Of some,
yes. Of the god Vishnu. We've never seen...
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's reasonable. Good question. We have to exercise our minds to make sure that our thoughts are clear and settled. I'm glad you asked that question. Anyone else?
Thank you. Doctor, I think there's a faith that's called Baha'i or something. I don't know.
Baha'i.
Yes, Baha'i. I don't know, I'm not going to speak under authority, but I think they take a little bit of Christianity and this and this and that, and that's what they say there's a truth in every religion. So from what you have taught us, it looks like they go against the principle of the red marble. It's almost like they take the blue and the yellow and all, they put it together.
Yes.
Any comment on that?
The difficulty with that would be very practical. Because if you say there is good in all the religions, I as an inquirer will say, how do you know it's good? How do you know that's good? I have not found the reference point. I have not found the truth of the matter. Only when I have found the reference and the truth of the matter can I call something good or evil. So practically, suppose I look at this religion and say, you got good. Does it have all good or good as well as bad? That's the question, right? In one sense. So how do you classify the evil as evil in that religion? In other words, how will you choose? How will you choose only the good? You have no reference, no way of choosing only the good. So it's nice to say, I'll choose the good. But when you look down into the practicality of the matter, how are you going to decide this is good and that is not good? So that you will choose good and good and good. And what will happen when you finish choosing the good? You will form another religion which you will say is the best, right? Just like anyone, others also were saying it's the best. So how is yours better than anyone else? So even if you make a generic religion by pulling out all the good from whatever you call good from there, first of all, I'll question, how do you know it's good? So it will be your own idea that was good, and so you pull it out, and then you form this religion, and you have to call it the best. Otherwise, why you are bringing it here? Because each of them are saying theirs is the best. So unless you say this is the best, there's no use of bringing it here into the consideration. Are you with me? So you will have to say it is the best. Even your conglomerate religion is, you have to call it the best, and then if you call it the best, I'll put it along with the others, but each of them call it the best. So how much have you really progressed? Nowhere. It is better to call each of them and allow each of them to call themselves the best, and then do your logic with them. Because first of all, you have no way of saying all of them have, it's true, all of them have good. But all of them have to have also evil then. And you have a hard time doing that. It's not practical. I tried it. Because I wanted a generic religion, I want one that is really, above board. Not just these ones which have obvious deficiencies and gaps. I did form a religion like that, but we have no time. Okay, I'll tell you, okay, since you are laughing at me, okay. You see, what I did, I took anytime a religion said that this is unique to this religion, I looked at that, because that is what I was looking for, unique. But then when they said unique, I look at them and say, hey, it's not unique because the other fellow also saying the same thing. So I put that non-unique. And then somebody else will say, this is unique. And I'd look at that, okay, very well, give you some marks. And then when I say, look at the other, hey, he's also saying the same thing. And how are you unique? So this way I went and looking for, the unique ones. I found 12 of those unique ones which were not unique. So what I did was, okay, it's not unique, but it's very important, so important that they said it was unique. Did you get it? So it was very important to that religion to state that this is their belief and it is unique. I didn't find it to be unique, but I had to give it importance. So I took all 12 and I formed a generic religion. Of these 12, that all 5 religions were calling unique. Only one religion has all 12. Christianity. So you want a generic religion? There it is. It's in my book, by the way, so you can look at it and you can check it out whether what I'm saying is correct. Yeah, they call it unique, but it's not unique. 12 of them. So, hey, don't laugh at me now. I did try that. I did try to form the generic religion, but it answered to one of them. Any other?
Thanks, Doc. I just want to check. Earlier in the week, we found that the record of Jesus in existence is recorded in one of the other major religions. And in fact, we discovered in the week that some of the things that exist in Christianity, so to speak, I think as you are saying now as well, are there also in other religions or are recorded there?
Basically in the Quran.
Yes, basically in the Quran.
Yeah.
I just want to check this story of resurrection. Does it exist? Is it recorded in any other literature? Because I think what you gave was biblical material, so to speak,
Yes.
in the main.
Yes.
Did any book or search or his other historical evidence
Yes.
write, or is there any attestation to the fact that he resurrected from extra biblical material?
I'm trying to get at what the question is. Are you saying, did anybody else write the resurrection story? Or are you saying that, is there any other writing that refers to the resurrection as a true story?
Yes, because it seems as if the resurrection story is fully attested in the Bible only.
Yes.
Does it exist anywhere else? That's the question.
No. But that's why I asked the second question. Do we have any other writing that refers to the story, the unusual story of Jesus' resurrection, and that unusual story is reflected in another writing, but not that writing is saying that the resurrection story is true? Okay, there is. Outside the Bible, there are references. If you look at some Roman writings, they will tell you why they were persecuting the Christians. And they call it a pernicious superstition. What is a pernicious superstition? That somebody died and rose up from the dead. So somebody rising up from the dead is not just in the Bible. It is written by the Roman writing. That's why they were so upset with the Christians. Because these Christians would stand up in front of the emperor and say, hey, we have somebody bigger than you. So it upset him. How can you have any power above me? I am God, I am Caesar. How can you have anything above me? And these bitty little ones would say, yes, we have somebody above you. And if you make a rule and it clashes with the rule that I got from above you, then I'll obey the only one that's above you. And that's why he was so mad that he put millions of them to death. Because they would not listen to him. And the reason they would not listen to him is because their lives were in the hands of the one who had conquered death. You cannot meet death unless you know you have a way of conquering it. Every Christian today can say he can conquer death. Why? Because their master has done so. That is how they were willing to die. And women and children died. They would hold hands and sing. They know that the gates would open and in 2 minutes those lions would come charging across the arena and just kill them off, tear them to pieces. And after 2 minutes, all you'll hear is crunching of broken bones. That's all. But what were they doing before that? Singing. How many people will sing at their death? That is why those very deaths, the very blood of those martyrs were actually seeds where the Romans would look at them and say, how in the world can you explain this? And they will slowly go to the catacombs, the hidden caves, and ask them, what is it that makes you so strong? And so many of them gave their lives to Jesus right there. So what am I saying? That outside the Bible, there are references. They didn't write the story of Jesus because his disciples wrote them out. They were on a mission. Those guys were not on a mission. They were on a mission to destroy it. And in the destruction, they were describing exactly what they were saying here. So there is. Yeah. Furthermore, remember what we said about historicity? The best attested historical literature is the New Testament. So in one sense, I don't need to find it anywhere else. It's in the best. So I don't need anything else to attest to it. But the fact is that there are. Yeah. Oh.
Yes. I just wanted to ask, with, I could be wrong. I heard something about, people say that in the Quran, there is a verse which says that if anything in the Quran doesn't make sense, they must go and look to that book or to Jesus or something to that sort.
You want to comment on that?
No, I'm asking, is that accurate? And
it is.
What exactly is the story?
It is chapter 10 and verse 94 of the Quran, which says, when you are in doubt, ask the Ahl al-Kitab, ask the people of the book. And the people of the book, the idea of book in the Islamic mind was very, very dear. Because when they looked across, the Jews had a book, the Christians had a book, but the Arabs had no book. So when Muhammad came and saying, Allah has sent a book, oh, hey, we also have a book. In that book, in chapter 10 and verse 94, it says, when you're in doubt, ask the Ahl al-Kitab, ask the people of the book. So in one sense, like we said earlier, Allah sent down 4 books, and the Quran was the 4th. So when Allah says, go back, then he's referring to all the 3 that is in the back. The Taurat, the Zabur, and the Injil. The Torah, the Psalms, and the Gospel.
There's a hand over there. Okay. I hope I'm not, yes. So I hope I'm not going to scare anyone. So my question now, since we're talking about Jesus, the Bible story about Jesus, Jesus, him rising from the dead.
Yes.
So, okay, so I think a few months ago I read about some woman that rose. So she was confirmed to be dead by family, taken to the hospital and was actually examined, and then it was confirmed that she was dead. I think 5 days later on she rose, or if we want to use the word rose. And she was back into life and healthy as a normal person. So now do we classify that woman as Jesus because she rose?
Tell me again the story. She was dead.
Yes.
For how long?
Probably like 5 days.
Probably like?
5 days. Let's say 5 days. Yes.
So that is documented?
Yes. She was in the, what do you call? The morgue. Yes.
She was in the morgue for 5 days and then she rose up again.
Yes.
Well, let's give it to her that she rose up from the dead. I don't know. That's fine. You rise up from the dead.
So, but now do we say she's Jesus?
Oh, we'll give her the credit that she rose up from the dead. I will give her the credit if it's really documented. But I will ask what is the documentation of the death itself. And then if it's really the dead, hey, good for you, you rose up from the dead.
So now,
Yeah, so now we're going to ask, what kind of a teaching are you going to teach me now? Tell me about your own life. Is there any mistake in your life or sinless life? What are your beliefs? Did you keep to your beliefs? What claim do you make for yourself? Can you see all the questions will come in now? So yeah, maybe she equaled Jesus in rising up from the dead. But did she ever tell anyone that if you do me to death, I will rise up? Did she ever say, I will go down into death and come up again? Most probably not. So yeah, we'll give her the credit that she rose up from the dead, but I'm not going to follow her unless she answers all these other questions that I asked all of them. So yeah, you can answer in the positive to about 2 or 3 of them, but look, we are looking for the weight of evidence.
okay, goes to my next question. Then I'm done. So going back to the Jesus story. So now no one knows what happened, if really he was dead.
Say that again.
Okay, according to the conclusion he has that he died and then he rose. And it was proven that he was dead. So now going back to him being in the tomb, I don't want to use the word, is it possible? I want to use the word that chances are, what if, while he was there in the tomb, because if we are to go back into the African culture, or how they actually, let me rather talk about voodoo.
Yes.
They are
Yes,
able to
yes,
take
yes.
the spirit
Yes,
out
yes.
and bring it back again.
Yes.
So why not Jesus? Why wouldn't they do that with Jesus?
Who done that to Jesus? Some story must be there, right? In other words, what I'm saying is, yes, there are things, and you will notice that in voodoo or in any of these, there is an agency that does the thing.
Yes.
So we're asking, who is the agency that did it to Jesus? And we find here that there is no agency. He said, you kill me, I will rise up.
Okay, he's saying they were alchemists,
Say it again.
the alchemists of the time,
Of which time?
Of the biblical.
the biblical time.
So what's his name?
Francis.
No, there was no alchemist. Because I'll tell you, the reason we say there's no alchemist, because there's no alchemist written anywhere. And he did say that you know, this resurrection was actually the one single sign he gave them when they said, give us a sign of the authority that you have for talking the way you do. He said, I can give you only one sign. 3 days later, I will rise up. That is the only sign he gave that he is supernatural. Not even his miracles. Although he did mention that the miracles point to one direction. When they asked for a sign, he gave them only one sign. Do me to death, I will rise up the 3rd day. So in other words, he was giving them a description of what he was going to show them would happen. There was no alchemist in that prediction. Not a single